Hey guys, welcome back to the Leading Edge Cricket Podcast, episode number 57. It's been a long time, it's been a long old time, it's been 40 days, 1 month, 9 days if you want to put it all together, all the way back on October the 22nd to be precise, the last time we were with you. And the fact that it's taken 6 weeks to get a podcast out isn't what we envisioned, but life sometimes happens, and unfortunately Rich's little cousin Liam lost his battle with a brain tumour at age 6.
Certainly did, mate. Yeah, it's been a tough old time. So, apologies. We've been away for so long. We were just getting organised, wasn't we, Rob? Monday morning, clockwork, podcast coming out. But yeah, the little man, he fought on. He was given about 12 months, and 6 months, sadly, that's all we got. But yeah, he was a brave little fellow. He touched a lot of people. The whole community has kind of really engaged with him, and it's been a difficult time, real rough. But this honour kind of knowing him, being one of the people carrying him to his to the grave, whatever you want to call it. So tough time, but really appreciate all the messages that people did. The people reached out with from the podcast. So appreciate you all, and let's get back to it. Let's get back to some cricket. It's happier times, isn't it, when cricket can be the priority, when it's better than when cricket is no longer a priority. Yeah,
definitely. No, it was great so many of the community reached out to you, mate. And as a friend of yours for so long, I was damn proud of the work that you did over the last 6 months since the message came out that there was a problem, and the amount of work that's put into it. And some of the things like that you've done, like the whole town going yellow and Nottingham Forest being involved and doing a minute's applause for him and things like that. It's awesome how much work you guys have done in, and hopefully little Liam's at rest now. He's not in pain, and everyone can start to try and move on with the rest of their lives, to however hard that is going to be. There's no easy quick fix to these things.
No, not at all, mate, not at all. But there's a little younger sister in there as well, so that's going to drag everyone forward. She's not going to let everybody sit there and wallow. So we're certainly going to be moving forward. But yeah, he's going to be missed. He had a massive influence on everybody. But yeah, we move forward, buddy.
So, Rich, you've got the whole world to look at, the 4 corners of the globe from the Flat World Society, like we spoke about last time. Where do you want to start?
Well, there hasn't been any cricket, has there, in the last 6 weeks? I've not seen any. Is that right?
Yep.
Not missed anything?
We've gone from cricket being on every single day to, there's no cricket.
Oh, my word. We've got the ruler out. We've drawn a line. Well, at least we've drawn a line on some of it. But yeah, I want to start in Australia, Rob. That's where I want to start.
I was hoping you would say Australia. Said no one ever.
Well, considering when we was trying to plan this, I was trying to come up with 10 reasons why we can't stand somebody from Australia. I think Australia's a good place to start. And before we start going in on them, getting the studs up and putting one down the calves of Australian cricket, I want to talk about somebody that deserves our respect. And that's John Hastings. It is a long time ago, but if people remember, he was trying to play cricket. He was playing, just trying to get going, and he weirdly had this issue where when he was trying to bowl off his full run up and full whack, he was bleeding basically. He was having a lung condition that was meaning that he was coughing up blood. He took time out from the game, hoping to get it sorted, but they just cannot put the finger on what's been going on, and he's had to call it a day. 33 years old. He could have carried on bowling for a good while yet. So it's a real shame to hear about that, especially when it's like an illness, Rob, isn't it? It's not the way John Hastings would have liked to have gone.
No, not at all. It's bizarre. The whole story about it is really bizarre because it's when he bowls, like he's perfectly functional, healthy human being. It's just the stress on his body when he actually delivers at the crease, and he's a big unit. Basically, It's almost like it's popping blood vessels and blood starts spurting out. But on a daily basis, he's doing F45, which is like CrossFit version 2 or something, lifting weights, boxing. He's cool. He's going to have a great life, which is the most important thing at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, you can look back. He's proud of the career he's had. He's one test. I don't want to call him a one-test wonder. A lot of people, a lot of good cricketers haven't even played Test cricket. So one test, I'm sure he's happy with that. But he's played 29 ODIs, 9 T20s for Australia. He's also had lots of stints in English cricket. So there'll be a lot of English cricket fans that will remember him fondly, especially those in Worcestershire as well, where he played last, I believe. But big shame. It's just tough. Nobody likes to see a player go out at any point with injury, but when it's something like this, when you just can't put your finger on what's going on, it's really rough. So all the best to John Hastings. It's sorry to see him go out, in this way.
It is, and just reading something that he had to say about his career, He's damn proud of it. And you know one thing, I really like this bloke. Just read, the more I read about him, the more I like about him. And one thing that he's very proud of, he got the John Scholes Award, which is basically voted by the Victoria squad for the player that's exhibited the best Victorian values. And like he goes, that's what I'm most proud of. And I'm like, good on you, son, good on you. It could have been the one test match, it could have been this, it could have been that, it could have been playing Big Bash, earning a load of brass. But no, it's like, oh no, actually, I was the best team player that I could have possibly been.
That's nice. I like that. When you said like the most Victorian, I was starting to think of like, what was he working in, like a cotton mill or something, or wearing corsets, top hats, and walking sticks.
He might well have been. That might have been the thing that gave him the award.
A horse-drawn cab. So, but no, I'm not going to say that though, because that's disrespecting it. So no, good on him. They're like a good Victorian over there. So. Yeah, fair play to him, and we had to start on a positive Australian note before we started talking about some of the utter nonsense that's going on down under at the moment.
Oh, hit me with the nonsense, Rich. Hit me with it.
Nonsense. Well, Australia, we've been talking about it forever, it feels like, but ever since the old sandpaper got involved, Australian cricket has been looking in on itself. They've been sitting quietly in a corner, pondering what they've done, where their life's gone wrong. What can they do to change? It's almost like a bloke that's just been caught cheating, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll change. Just get a grip. They've had their review, and do you know what's wound me up the most about all this? Is the fact that after this review, the Australian Cricket Association then wanted the punishment lifted for the three players, the Steve Smith, David Warner, Cameron Bancroft, the sandpaper trio. But Cricket Australia's come out and gone, no, don't be so ridiculous. So, the Cricket Association basically said the independent review into Cricket Australia found that they were partly to blame for the culture and for everything that's gone on. So therefore, the trio should have their ban lifted. Give me a break. Why could they not just leave this alone and just, sleeping dogs lie and all that sort of nonsense and just get on with it? The guys are playing a bit of cricket. David Warner's either celebrating like he's just scored a last-minute winner in the World Cup final, or he's kind of running off the field crying because somebody sledged him or whatever happened. I can't remember now. It was a while ago. But you know what I mean? It's like, just get a grip, Cricket Australia. You've got a new guy in there, Earl Eddings, is a new man who's taken on. Just get yourself in order.
What a mess. You know what? I forgot about David Warner and David Warner's celebration, and I completely forgot that he walked off the pitch in a strop. Like, you child, what is wrong with you, son? Get a grip of your life.
I think that's the issue, isn't it? In all seriousness, I hope he's getting some help he deserves, he requires, let's say. But everything that seems to be coming out of Australia recently is rattling me, and that's why I was so, in a weird way, pleased to hear the John Hastings views, because we could then spend some time going, this is a fair guy, this is as they would say in Australia, he's a great Australian. He's a good bloke. It was good to see it. And then we have to talk about these absolute idiots. So, Bancroft, remind me where, Rob? I don't know where it is at the minute off the top of my head because we've been away from the game a little bit. But Bancroft has got himself a contract in England next year, hasn't he?
Yes.
He's the guy that probably is the one we can look at with most innocence. The David Warner, the attack dog, they set him up for it, so a little bit of blame goes to Cricket Australia, but David Warner's still a pillow. Steve Smith, get a grip, mate. He just thought he was a little bit untouchable in the end, didn't he? Yeah,
he did. He did 100%. Yeah. It's the win-at-all-costs mongrel cricket, and I can't stand it. I hated watching this Australian team for so long because they were such bad individuals at going, this is what cricket is, unfortunately. And it's all come to roost. It always does, and it's done the rounds. And the fact that they're trying to open up and go, the players aren't to blame. The players are the ones on the pitch actually going out there performing and acting in a certain manner. You're perfectly capable of having a bad captain at the top. I'm not saying Steve Smith's a bad captain, but you perfectly can have that in a team, and the captain can be an idiot. There's 10 other people individuals following that captain onto the pitch and playing in the spirit that he wants his team to play. Yeah. Warner, Smith, captain, vice-captain, absolutely 100% should be the ones responsible for this, irrelevant of what Cricket Australia want them to do.
Yeah, exactly. And you look back, don't you? We spoke about this before, didn't we? Steve Waugh, then it was Ricky Ponting, then it was some bloke called Michael Clarke, then it was obviously passed on again Steve Smith. Every single one of these, they've carried on this culture. Cricket Australia, they've always been quite happy to turn a blind eye to this culture. They know it's not right. They know this isn't it. But as long as they were getting results, they couldn't give a rat's ass for what the behaviour of the players. The cricketing population of Australia, the cricketing fan, a lot of them were getting tired of this nonsense. Yeah. Absolutely tired of it. And this is why they had to have this review. But I just feel a little bit, maybe, I've not looked into detail of this review, but I can imagine it's, a lot of people at the top probably did this as a little bit of we'll just do this to appease people.
Yeah.
But it actually probably went a bit deeper, and that's why they did kick out the last kind of chairman of Cricket Australia, and that's why they've replaced him. I think they tried to hang on. Oh, I'm the best person to stay in charge and oversee all this. Well, no, you're not, mate, because you were in charge when all the problems going on.
Yeah.
So fair play that they kicked that guy down the street. But it is somebody that's coming. This Eddings fella, he was already involved in Cricket Australia, but I suppose you're not going to just grab someone from down the road, are you? From one of the shops down the road to take over. So it has to be someone with some knowledge. So
yeah.
So we'll see. Hopefully it sorts them out of it.
Yeah, and I know I'm saying the captain is the one responsible for the field. Yes, he is. But the organisational structure and the ethos of the organisation does generally come from the CEO down, and he's the one that wants to come in and implement new changes and a way of doing things. Then he's more than capable of doing that, and it's quite rightly so to get rid of the CEO that was at the top previously, who'd been a part of it. So I think they are making some good steps. But when I look at this Australian team, it's been incremental changes of a negativity sort of point of view, trying to get his words out over the last 20 years. Because like when Steve Waugh played, they were tough, but they were bloody good blokes, and they'll probably have a beer with the team after. You know what I mean? But then it was the Ponting era, and the Ponting era, oh yeah, we've got to be even more ruthless. And then it was the next era, Clarke, and we've got to be even worse. And now it's Steve Smith, and you've got David Warner with bloody rabies spitting out his mouth on the field. It's got even worse. So it's not a generation, but a part generation, every 5 or 10 years, it has got worse. And quite rightly, it's come to a head, and the head needed chopping off, and they've got a new CEO in charge, and hopefully a new captain, and Steve Smith doesn't go back to that position, and they can start to just rehabilitate themselves back into the game.
Yeah, definitely. And this is the thing, you go back, Steve Waugh, they started a culture, win at all costs, don't take a step backwards. Oh, look at the Australian coat of arms, two animals that can't physically move backwards. I don't know if that's true or not. Kangaroo and the emu, can they move backwards? I don't know. That might just be a bit weird. But anyway, they had players that naturally brought it, didn't they? They wanted to bring a little bit of fire to the game, some of these big fellas. But then as it's gone on, they've kind of become more and more of what would be the right term, like a caricature of themselves.
Yeah.
They're kind of trying to be Australian cricket, but they've just taken it so far, and it just gets ridiculous. And David Warner, grow up, pal. Stop running off when you're upset, when someone's had a little go at you. I don't care how personal it's got. It's like the de Kock stuff, isn't it? It's like, stop trying to make jokes about somebody and then getting upset when someone has a dig back at you.
Yeah.
Just can't be doing with it. Anyway, Australian cricket, I think that we just need to breathe for a little bit, don't we? I think everyone knows our points of view. And, Michael Clarke, Rob, I think that's one other point that we just want to make a little conversation about.
Yeah. Big fan of Michael Clarke. I'm glad you brought him up, mate.
Oh, Clarkey is the most disliked captain, I think, in a side. And I'm talking about by his own players, sure.
Yeah, lost the dressing room.
But the genius Michael Clarke, he's come out and basically said Australian cricket needs to stop worrying about being liked and start worrying about being respected. We might be the most liked team in the world, we're not going to win. So, as we know, coach Justin Langer, Tim Payne the captain, Aaron Finch, he's limited over as captain. They've all attempted to rein it in a little bit, haven't they? That, they want to be able to kind of address some of these issues and try and turn the page and say, we can play cricket in a different way. We can still play it aggressively. We can still play it in a real challenge to everybody, but we're going to be nice. We're going to be a little bit better. And for want of a better term, we're going to be a little bit nicer about how we do it. The review of the culture, they were branded arrogant, controlling. But Michael Clarke has said that they've got to keep playing the hard cricket. This is what happens. They're not winning games of cricket all over the shop. So suddenly you've got to play more Australian cricket. It's almost as bad as that drawing the line comment. Where's the line? Who created the line? Who says where the line is? What is Australian style of cricket? You've got an idea. It's a little bit, it's hard. They play it rough, but have a beer afterwards. I don't really understand the rest of it, though. What does it mean? Is it being an absolute dick?
Yeah.
Is it being really personal? Is it overstepping this imaginary line? I don't know. But he talks some rubbish, doesn't he?
You know what? I've got a bit of a transcript from the interview here. And some of the stuff that he's saying, I just look at it, I'm like, is this actually coming out your mouth? Are you that far up your own arse you don't even understand what people thought of you? And he's basically said, under my leadership of the test team, Australia was ranked number 5 in the world, and 18 months later we were number 1. Yet you made no criticism of our style of play then. Trust me, as someone watching cricket, we were not a fan of how Australia were playing the game back in 2013 either. You could already see that it was getting worse. Fact number 2, in the process of getting to number 1, I played to win, but played by the rules of the game and to a similar level of aggression to the other international teams I played against. Incorrect. You told James Anderson you would have his freaking arm broken in a number 11 batting. It's just absolutely terrible. And then the third
that's like
one...
bumping a 12-year-old coming in at 11 in club cricket, isn't it?
It is.
I'll show him. Get the opening bowler back on.
And then the third one, my conduct as an honest and by-the-rules captain has never been questioned, sanctioned or fined other than when I stuck up for George Bailey when he was bullied by an opponent. What am I reading?
Sorry, I don't think he did say that. I think he said fair income or something like that. Bless you, Michael Clarke. Bless you. He's just a muppet, isn't he? He's just a muppet. He's I don't know, Trump-esque, some of this stuff was coming out of his mouth. I was a great captain. I was the best captain. I did captaincy great.
Yeah,
maybe that's the next part of his speech, was it?
Yeah, he just loves himself and in love with what he was part of. And I've already told you this before on the podcast. I saw him once, and I saw him in India, and he was turning away little Indian kids in the hotel for autographs. And from that point, I went, "You're a douche. You're a douche. Not a fan. Hair. These kids are going to remember that for the rest of their life, and I'm going to remember it as you turn them away." I had a chat to Shane Watson. I went, "All right, bro." He went, "Yeah, all right, cobber." And that was it. We had a nice conversation. But Michael Clarke, no, douche.
Too good. Too important. Too important. That's how he saw himself, wasn't he? So anyway, let's get that. We've got that out of the system. We've not had a good rant about Australia for a while. We've had a rant. Got it out of the system again. They are playing cricket, Rob. Did you know that? They are playing cricket. There is a tour game going on at the minute. Australia are hosting India. That's going to be one heck of a series. Australia, they come into this after a couple of test matches against Pakistan where they lost 1-0, and also 3 T20s, which Pakistan won 3-0, convincing. India, just to give a bit of context of where we are, what we've missed, India, 2 tests against West Indies, hammered them 2-0. Innings and 272 runs and a 10-wicket win. That's what's called a hammering. India then won the ODI series 3-1. West Indies tried a little bit. They are a little bit better with the white ball, aren't they? So,
yes.
But anyway, that's where the two teams are coming into this. We've had 3 T20 results already, Rob. Australia won the first one by 4 runs. No result at the MCG, and the SCG saw India win by 6 wickets, 2 balls left. 1-1 there, Australia-India. Tour game going on at the moment before we have 4 test matches. Usually a winter in Australia is 5 test matches, but they're missing out one, and they're starting with Adelaide. Adelaide, Perth, MCG Boxing Day, and then SCG in the new year before 3 ODIs. Ahead of this first test, Rob, coming up, massive news. Basically the new king of cricket, Prithvi Shaw, ankle injury, got under a catch. Who's Max Bryant? Max Bryant's fault. A lofted shot by Max Bryant, according to ESPN Cricket Info. Shaw got under it, but went over in his left ankle as he tried to keep himself in the boundary. So now he's going to miss the first test match because of that.
That's a shame, actually, because I was quite looking forward to watching him back in Australia, because he's so good off the back foot. I can just imagine him pummeling the ball all over Australia, and I'd love to watch it.
Stand and deliver, just rest him back and just rock him. Oh, yeah, that would be good to see. So we're not going to see him in the first test. Hopefully, he won't be too far away, though. It's just one of those disappointing things, isn't it? Ahead of what should be a really good test series. Just looking at the Aussie squad, Rob, any big surprises for you there? Chris Tremaine, I'm sure you know all about him, don't you?
It's strange on Australia cricket at the moment, because you do look at it and you go, "Oh, I don't know him." There's no huge surprises to me. Like, I look at Peter Hanscom in the squad and I'm like, "Oh, are you good enough?" Travis Head's going to be an interesting one, because I really rate him as a white ball cricketer. Is he good enough to transition into a proper test cricketer? I don't know. And Peter Siddle being back in the squad as well, mate. Like, that makes me happy. Peter Siddle,
love that.
He can be, he played under Michael Clarke during that era, but I had a lot of respect for him because he was hard working. He wasn't the most talented, but he was accurate and at you, and he was just good. He was good at what he did, and he knew exactly what he was. And this Australian team needs that control.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And you got people like Mitchell Stark in the squad. That's great. You're still missing a little bit of the bowling, or you had been, but you've got Pat Cummins in there. You've got Josh Hazelwood. You've got the sort of the A team back, having you Siddle in there as well as an option. There's always going to be an Australian bowler being injured, so Siddle's going to get his chance unless he is the one injured, obviously. But yeah, I like it. Aaron Finch, I love the fact that he's in there again. Tim Payne, he's a nice guy. He's the poster child for this new look, whatever you want to call it, Australian setup. But he needs to start seeing some results. And this is not the team you want to be looking at this against. Mitch Marsh, is he batting a bit too high? There's a lot of questions here for the Australian team. And I've just got to make one last point, Rob. Marcus Harris' picture on Cricket Info. Is there a picture of a more Australian-looking fella ever?
You know what? I'm looking at exactly the same photo right now, about to say the most thing. He just looks like he's come off the beach in a surf.
He just looks like, if you looked at that guy and you've got no idea what the context was or anything, you'd say he's an Aussie.
Yeah,
and that's not just being rude to Aussies, mate. If you're an Aussie, you look at him and go, yeah, he's an Aussie. Yeah. You just know it. So.
It's interesting what they've done with the team Australia since the changes. Like, they're trying to find something that works, and they have given opportunity to some of the more white ball specialists, such as Travis Head, and also Aaron Finch, who opened against Pakistan as well in average mid-40s, and I'm a big Aaron Finch fan, and I think if he plays so nice straight, so it does give him a good chance in Test cricket to be a decent opener. But it's a really good opportunity for someone like him, who probably would never have got a sniff of a Test match arena.
Yeah, definitely. And it's the way, I mean, look at England. We give the England selectors a lot of flack for picking Joss Butler, not because we don't rate Joss Butler, not because we don't like him as a cricketer, but because he hadn't played any red ball cricket since time kind of began.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it felt, isn't it, for the last few years? And he's come in and he's done a fantastic job, especially in tough conditions, which we'll talk about in a little bit with England. So, it's good. You're going to have to go there. Good cricketers are good cricketers, and the way Test game is going now, it's more about playing attacking or playing at different paces, let's say. There might be spells or sessions where you need to take your foot off the gas a little bit and just make sure you get through. But then you are almost expected now to take a game away from the opposition in a session, in an hour. So those players, Aaron Finch's, Josh Butler's, they should be playing Test cricket, and the game's going to be better for it long run.
Yeah. What about this Indian team, mate? What do you make of it? Because there's not a lot of change from the team that toured England, right?
No, the squad looks solid, doesn't it? Bhuvaneshwar Kumar's back in. I believe he's fit and firing. It's going to be a difficult one, isn't it? With the injury to Shaw, does that mean Murali Vijay comes back in?
Who knows? It could well be. He's in the squad. He's presumably the backup opener.
And he was probably looking at it going, no, I'm not going to get much of a chance here going forward. But then, this is the thing, they could rotate a little bit in this tour. They've played a lot of cricket over the last 12 months, so who knows. But it's great to see some of them young blokes still in there. Hanuman Vihari's back in the squad, young, 25. Rishabh Pant, obviously, big fan of his, aren't we? Obviously, we spoke about Prithvi Shaw. So, yeah, we'll have to see about this one. I think, getting ahead a little bit. I think, look, this Indian squad is solid. Simple as that. Australia's a lot of flux, a lot of change, a lot of movement in that batting lineup in personnel. The bowling attack looks stronger, but this Indian team is just... I think a lot of these batsmen are going to enjoy playing here. But it all depends, I think, on what sort of bowling attack the Aussies do pull out. If it is Cummins, Hazelwood and Stark, ouch. It could be a different series. But if it's not, then India could improve their averages. Let's politely put it that way.
Yeah, they could. It's a big series because this is a big winter for India. Like you see them so many times, and they play against the West Indies, and it's one-sided, and they play against Sri Lanka, it's one-sided, and they're a beast at home. We know that. But going and touring England and Australia, two completely different style of wickets to what they play back home, is a really big ask of these players. Go and play against a swinging ball. Then go and play against a bouncing ball, and then come back to India and play on a road that spins. They're completely different things, and it is. We spoke about redemption for a few of these India players when they were going to play in England. Murali Vijay, people that had bad series previously, can they step up? But it's still quite a young Indian team. There's not many guys that are over 33, 34. There's only really Murali Vijay. Maybe Ashwin as well at 32.
Yeah,
a lot of these guys are going to be around again. So this is really good bedding in for a Vihari, for a Shaw, for a Pant to go, I've played in England, I've played in Australia, and I'm 21 years old. I've played literally all the different types of pitches around the world. This is good.
Yeah, definitely. And they're going to have a bit of cricket in New Zealand as well over the winter, in January, February. They've got some ODIs and T20s in your now home country, Rob.
They will.
So they've played some there. They've played some. It's a bit like old Carl Froch, the boxer, isn't it? He didn't fight any journeyman. He fought the best.
Yeah.
Every single fight was the best fight. If anyone's aware of Carl Froch and boxing, so might be a bit of a random, bizarre sort of comparison. But that's kind of how we see what India have been taking on, and it's going to stand them in good stead going forward. But then when it does get to New Zealand, they're turning the page again, aren't they? Looking around the corner towards the World Cup, which is England's in 2019, obviously next year. So that's going to be interesting as well, and maybe it's the time in England and the time in New Zealand, which are not. It's kind of the in-between conditions between England and Australia, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's again going to be good preparation as they look towards next English summer.
So I feel that's enough Australian stuff. We've spent 30 minutes of the podcast. We've been away for 6 weeks and all we want to do is talk about Australia. And I feel that is wrong, Rich. I feel we need to go and take a look at England and Sri Lanka because England are in the process or have been in the process of creating some history over there.
Yeah, I just want to say first, we also spoke about India a little bit.
Okay.
Not all Australia. There is some good out of that. And John Hastings was a good bit of Australia.
John Hastings was a good bit of Australia.
And that's it. That's all I've got. Anyway, I agree. Let's move on. Sri Lanka. History has been made, Robert. I'm sorry, I don't think people are quite... Right, this is just a kind of an early winter series, in Sri Lanka. There's not that many people paying attention to this, unless I've missed something. But this has been missed. This is going under the radar. England have done something that teams do not do in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
This is not the best ever Sri Lankan side. There's no Murali there. There's no Jayawardene. There's no Sangakkara, etc., etc. But this is still a ridiculous country to go and win cricket games in. So just let's take a moment. England have been ridiculously good.
Yeah.
Amen. Yeah.
Amen, brother.
Everyone at the back? Yep. Good. Right. This series, mate, started off tour match. 2 tour matches. Obviously, if you remember, it was rain everywhere. Everywhere you went, rain. Just rain.
Rain? Did it rain?
Yep. Just it rained a little bit. So, 2 tour games. England won 1. Other one, no play. None at all. So anyway, England going a little bit cold. First ODI, no result. Rain. Second one, England win. Duckworth Lewis. Rain. Third one, England win by 7 wickets. 2-0 up. Rain. Fourth one, Duckworth Lewis, England won. So England 3-0. So it ended up 3-1. Sri Lanka, I don't know where this came from. Sri Lanka won the 5th one by 290. So
they smashed it. 366 they scored. I don't know where that came from.
It was bizarre. It's like they're back in Colombo. We can play cricket again. So anyway, England 3-1 in the ODIs. It's like, okay, England had done okay. That's pretty good. Pretty good. A lot of rain about. Rain got more talk than England winning 3-1, but hey, we'll carry on. T20, one of them. England win, 30 runs. That's 4 victories, Rob. 5 if you count the tour game already. Out of 8 games of cricket. That's not bad going. Sri Lankan border level drawn. All right, okay, we'll let them have that. And then, obviously, that tour up to that point, it's not been a bad tour. I don't know if I mentioned it. The weather was a little bit ropey. So
it sounds like it rained a bit.
It drizzled. No, it didn't drizzle.
Moisture.
Are we allowed? No, I'm not going to say it. It wazzed it down, Robert.
Going for a wazz.
One for locals there. I'm sure you know what it means. Right, Test series. This is where it got, I'm going to say that word again, ridiculous. First Test, Rob. England won. 211 runs.
Nice.
Go up to the hills, Candy. It's not really Candy anymore, Palakelly. England win, 57 runs.
Nice.
Back to Colombo, back to the coast, back to the capital. England win, 42 runs. Absolutely spannered, hammered, whatever other word you want to throw at Sri Lanka. That should not happen in Sri Lanka.
Nah.
This won't happen in Sri Lanka. There is not going to be a team going to Sri Lanka and winning 3-0 in Test matches. I don't care what this side is or isn't at the minute. Yeah. You do not go and win in Sri Lanka. I can't emphasise and stress this point enough. This has been unbelievable. And England will not and have not got the credit they deserve for this, but this has been one of the most incredible performances from an England touring side in a long, long time.
Agreed. I'm just going to put this out there. I didn't see a lot of this. I've seen the highlights because it wasn't shown on TV in New Zealand. But when we started looking at this originally in the tour, I fully expected England to go away and win this series against Sri Lanka. Why? Because it's a poor Sri Lankan team. But we did say the caveat of England haven't won in Sri Lanka since 2001 or whatever it was. It was a long time ago. And with this England batting lineup, you're never quite sure what you're going to get. But they did enough in the big moments, and people stepped up in the moments where we'd collapse. So we weren't always 100 all out. We would work our way up to 290, 300, and they did bloody well for themselves. And the fact that the bowlers were so effective in Sri Lanka, because that's something that we quite often see when England tour Sri Lanka. The bowlers don't take wickets, and you've got Sangakkara and you've got Jayawardene who just get runs for days. That was gone. The England spinners performed better than I think anyone could have imagined they would have done.
Yeah, I don't even want to look back at some of the spin setups we had touring countries like Sri Lanka over the years. Obviously, we had some good days when we had the Swans and Panazars, but some of the, we might have a frontline spinner that's pretty good, but then the second spinner and the batsman that bowls a bit spinner, nothing has been like Rashid, Leach and Moeen Ali. And Moeen Ali has got back to where he was a year or so ago, and he's got back to what we've got to call his best. And it's been sensational. We have outspun Sri Lanka.
Yeah, 100%.
When have you been able to ever say that since they came into world cricket almost? It's been unbelievable. I'm so proud of what England have achieved, mate. I've watched bits of it. And I just want to make a point as well. This is not the best Sri Lankan side ever, but not that long ago, I've not seen the recent rankings, but at number 7 in the world rankings a little while ago was Karunaratne. And number 8 was Chandimal. That's 2 Sri Lankan batsmen in the top 10 in world cricket. Down at 17 was Mendes. So it's not like these were absolute mugs. Angelo Matthews down at 25. They're not a bad side. Not a bad side. So it's one that needs context. This is not the best Sri Lankan side ever, but this has been a really good England side. And this is an England side that, again, I've used that word earlier tonight, in flux, in change. There's a lot of change. The number 3 position, 3 different players almost, isn't it? In 3 different games with things monkeying around in the second game. Rory Burns coming in as opening. Keaton Jennings, massive question mark over his head, coming in opening. Root, where does he want to bat? 3, 4, whatever. Stokes coming back in, he's under the spotlight. When this is all done, he's going to be sat in front of a disciplinary panel, isn't he? So that's still hovering over him. Ben Foakes wasn't even in the original squad. He's come in and suddenly just ripped those gloves away from Bairstow, Butler and anyone else that had even an idea of getting those gloves. He is now the England wicketkeeper for the foreseeable future because of how well he's played in this. The bowlers, Curran's bowled well, Anderson's bowled well, and then you've had the spinners. It's just, there was, I've kind of gone from one point to the next there, but there was a lot of things, a lot of question marks in this England setup going into this series. There are still some question marks, but people and players have really performed strongly. Keaton Jennings, Rob, the openers. Should we break it down a little bit? Should we just look into it? What we think's gone on here. Rory Burns, Keaton Jennings from England.
Yes.
What's your thoughts on their performances during this series?
Keaton Jennings, it was a Jekyll and Hyde series for me. The first Test match, he was superb. Like, the best performance he possibly may even have in an England shirt. 146 not out in that second innings in goal. Incredible, and 46 in the first innings. But then the remaining 2 Test matches, he only managed to score 41 from 4 innings. So, to me, Jennings has done enough to go, that's the moment. Can that be the moment that makes him a Test cricketer for a long period of time? But there's still so many question marks because there was 4 fails and bad fails in the last 2 Test matches.
Yeah, and he's still getting out to seam bowling. Not many players were getting out to seamers in this series. A lot, people getting out to spin, and that's going to be my question mark. We go to West Indies next. Yes, he probably deserves to keep his place there after his, certainly after his first Test, and he showed some. And we can't move on from Keaton Jennings without talking about how ridiculous he is now at short leg. Some of the most sensational catches we've ever seen, and this is what cracks me up. You stuck him in slip for a summer, and he just couldn't catch anything.
Yeah.
He could not catch a cold. And then you put him, and then, Rory Burns gets one, Rory Burns ducks into one and tries to, commit suicide at short leg. And they chuck him out and they bring in Jennings, and it's like, oh, actually, Jennings can catch, but he just can't catch it slip. He can catch it short leg. Unbelievable. How did we not know this? Did anyone have a word with anyone? Did anyone kind of do a bit in practice? Or is it just like, oh, you're the new bloke, you can go at short leg? I get sick of that. Stick the bloke in that's good at it.
Yeah.
He's shown what a difference it makes by being good at that. So suddenly, his fielding is a positive when you're looking at should he be in the side. Before, it was a negative. It was like, well, he can't catch, so what's the point? So he was hanging on by an absolute thread, wasn't he? So, but now he's actually added something to his game, and it's like, actually, well, what are you going to do at short leg if Jennings isn't playing? So, anyway, Keane Jennings, he's done all right. Rory Burns, Rob. Rory Burns. For me, I was impressed by
what do you
start.
think, mate? You go first.
Well, that's it. I was impressed by the start, but you look at his numbers. I think first off, he's done enough, to warrant obviously a tour of West Indies.
I agree.
And hopefully he kicks on. 9, 23, 43, 59, 14 and 7. So an okay start in ball. Nothing, you don't really know what to expect in the first innings. But 23, you got a little bit on the board there. 43 and 59, got himself a 50. Well, bad. Then 14 and 7 in the third test. Obviously the test won, but he's not really done anything to write home about. But he's been okay. He's been solid. He's certainly unorthodox, and that's probably, now watching him in a bit more detail, it's probably one of the reasons he has taken so long to get that call up. And there's so many other opening batsmen got a game before him.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to see. I think him and Jennings, it's still massive question marks for me. They both will get the West Indies series, 3 test matches in the West Indies in the new year, I think February, March time. And all we can do is wait and see.
Yeah, see what happens. I think he's done enough to get that call up for the West Indies series. The second test match, he really came into his own with decent scores. First test match, I think there was a lot of nerves going on there. He got strangled down the leg side and he got himself run out. So you never quite know. If someone gets strangled down the leg side, 9 times out of 10 you go, that's unlucky. It's one of those things. Any other day, 99 times out of 100, it's going to be 4 runs. So I'll give him a pass on that. England's still got a bit of I want to say fragility, but I don't think fragility is a word. They're quite fragile around the top of the order, and you hope that in West Indies he comes and gets some runs, because like the problem was of getting Burns in the team, there's not a great deal of depth to be able to call upon. So if he does enough in the West Indies, that's cool. Let's get him in for a series in England, but it's World Cup season coming up, so it's going to be interesting. He might be around the test team for 18 months and not play that much cricket.
That's the opener, isn't it? And number 3, obviously, that's going to be the huge conversation. We'll just put a pin in that 1 second. Root's gone to number 4. He's had an okay series. I think I need to just say he's had an okay series.
Yeah.
Number 5 is another one. Number 3 and number 5 are a little bit interchangeable. There's question marks. I still don't like Stokes at 5. Coming back onto the number 3 conversation, they tried Moeen Ali, who obviously finished the summer at number 3. He got himself a first bowler in the first innings, didn't help his cause, and he only got 3 in the second innings. Okay, the Moeen Ali number 3 conversation and trial is over. Failed. Ben Stokes, that was bizarre. I don't like Ben Stokes at 5. I do not like him at number 3.
No.
In the second innings, he didn't get a chance because Joe Leach. Isn't that the Worcester bowler, Rob?
It is Joe Leach.
Yeah. Jack Leach ended up opening the batting for England. Nobody would have ever predicted that, but night watchman Jack Leach opened the batting with Rory Burns. So Keaton Jennings was at number 3 in the second test. So obviously England are scrambling. Where in the back of that drawer is the answer to the number 3? But then in the third test, a certain Johnny Bairstow steps up, who was fit for the second test but couldn't get a recall because of how well Ben Stokes had done. So, and let's be honest, Johnny Bairstow, we love you, man, but he was pretty awful but back end of the summer, wasn't he?
Oh, dreadful.
So this is probably this is a kick up the backside maybe you needed. No, Johnny, you're not getting the gloves. No, Johnny, you are going to sit out. I don't care if you're fit for the second test. Third test, all right, number 3. There's an opening for you there, mate. Go and give it a shot. 110 in the first innings, and it was a celebration like none other as well, wasn't it? He was pumped, seriously pumped. It was a weird one because you could hear him more than the crowd. So it was a little bit strange.
Good. It means a lot to him. It means as much as what that 100 did to Dave Warner in front of 20 people playing on the school pitch. Like, it was similar sort of celebrations. And good old Johnny Bairstow. He's always a good person to have in this England team. I think he's a fighter. He's gritty. He's a good batsman. He can get on with it. Is he a test match number 3? Time's going to tell. My thoughts are his technique is not the stereotypical number 3, but Rory Burns is not the stereotypical opener's technique either. So you never know. We're bodging stuff together and we're getting it. And Bairstow, he's probably going to start number 3 in the West Indies.
Yeah, and fair play to him. I mean, he obviously a bit of a failure in the second innings, along with 1 or 2 others at the top of the order. But he's come in, and under that pressure, of how much it meant to him, with his nose has been put out of joint. Let's be honest. When he had the gloves taken off him in the summer as well, didn't he, for a game or so?
Yeah.
With the injury. So and he didn't like facing more than one ball, it felt like, for a while at the end of the summer as well. So, but he's come back, he's shown some character, and that's fantastic. That's brilliant. But, I'm just going to jump across a little bit here, but Ben Foakes, what a difference it makes when you've got a wicket-keeper batsman in the team rather than a batsman wicket-keeper.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Johnny Bairstow's glove work, no disrespect to Josh Butler's and others, but you can see the difference of Ben Foakes. That boy, he just melts.
Yeah.
It absolutely melts in there. He's been phenomenal behind the sticks, and with the bat as well, he's done just, exceeded my expectations of him. So I'm chuffed. He's the leading run scorer for the series, 277 runs at an average of 69. That's an introduction to Test cricket.
Yeah.
And that's what I want. Johnny Bairstow, just stop moaning about, obviously you're disappointed about not getting the gloves. Forget it. Just concentrate on your batting. Be the best batsman in this England side. If you can aim to be better than Joe Root, then that's going to be great for us. We'll worry about the wicket keeper.
Yeah, exactly. If he can go and average 45-50 in a Test career, we've got a number 3 for the next 5-10 years or however long he's got left of his playing career. So the concentration should be for Bairstow. I completely agree. It's runs. You've got to go out there. You've got to perform because Foakes is there, and there'll be the next guy that can keep wicket as well as bat. It's one of those things. People can do a bit of both, and Bairstow is someone that can do a bit of both. But he's a better batsman than he is a keeper. You need to earn your pennies at batting, mate. That's your job.
Yeah, score some runs, and then if there's ever a question about the keeping again, we'll come back to it. But for now, Bairstow will get our number 3. I think it is going to be Burns, Jennings, and Bairstow, isn't it, going in with Root at 4. 5 and 6, 7 and 8, it could be anything. Yeah, Perm anything from Stokes, Butler, Foakes, and Ali. Ali's going to be your number 1 spinner, isn't he? Leach is going to miss out in the West Indies, as will probably Rashid. It depends if they go with 2 spinners or not. And then it's the toss-up between the bowlers, isn't it? But Butler's done pretty well. Stokes has done okay. Stokes did well with the ball. More so, I think, especially going into the last game. Well, the last game he did pretty well. With the bat, Rob, 187 runs at 31. 6 innings. It's not bad. It's not bad. He's done better than others.
Yeah, it's very Ben Stokes numbers though. But if that makes sense, it's where I kind of see him as a Test batsman, averaging 30.
Yeah, and this is the crazy thing about Ben Stokes. You look at his stats, and it tells you one thing, but you look at him as a cricketer, and you hear about people talking about him as a cricketer, and the two don't quite connect.
No.
He's a world class. He's an absolute world class. He's world class. He's a bit like Flintoff back in the day. But then you look at his stats and go, are we talking about the same bloke here? Yeah, so Ben Stokes bowled, but then there was that one spell, wasn't there? That one spell, absolutely game-changing spell. 3 for 30 in Sri Lanka's first innings of the 3rd Test. It absolutely destroyed that lineup. Fast, aggressive, short-pitch bowling when nothing was happening. You should not be taking wickets like that in these conditions. But he just kept running in, and that's the value of him. So yes, the stats might not, paint the full picture. They might not flatter him as much as they could do for this series, but that's why he's in the team, isn't it? Where he bats, like I said, we can work on that. They can work on where he sits, whether it's 5, 6, 7, whatever. There's options now, isn't there? Moeen Ali as well. Maybe he drops behind Foakes. Maybe he bats above Foakes. Who knows? But it's some nice problems to have. And on top of that, Sam Curran again. 48 in the first innings of the first knock of the series. He's just a top cricketer. He's just absolutely top. 64 in the 2nd Test. I just love him as a cricketer. He just every time he comes to bat, England are in the mire, right? They were in the mire in the first Test. They were 5 down for 100, and it's just like watching England when they're in England. So, but then he turns up. Yep. He's played 7 Test matches now. He's got 400 runs at an average of 36.7, mate. The guy is just a hero in these conditions. Yeah, he loves the 6 as well. He does love a good 6, doesn't he? He loves the 6. 9 sixes in 2 Test matches. Good on him. Throwing that out there. So yeah, I think we've kind of focused on England there, haven't we? Sri Lanka have done pretty well in the series, but obviously 3-0. There's been individual performances. Karunaratne, he's their star man, 256 runs at 42. Angelo Matthews, you're always going to get a little bit from him, 223. And there's been some other contributions as well, haven't they? So with the bat. Kind of before we talk about the bowlers, I think it's probably just worth us talking about a little fella, Rangana Harath. He hung up his spinning arm. Don't want to say his bat. I think that's kind of giving him too much credit with the bat. But he hung it up at Galle. He announced before the series, didn't he, that he was going to retire at his favourite ground, his home ground. The guy's 40. He's closer to 41 than he is 40 these days. And he's walked away from Test cricket, one of the leading wicket takers. I think, what do we say? The leading left armour in world cricket. 443 wickets, at an average of 28. I mean, that little man, unbelievable effort. To still be playing at 40 is just such a great effort. So he made his exit after the first test. It didn't quite go as well as he would have liked, but what a player for Sri Lankan cricket. They'll be really, really working hard to try and find a replacement for him.
Yeah, and the question is, do they have one in Dilruwan Pereira?
You tell me, Rob, do they?
I think they may well have. Now, the only problem you've got with Pereira is he's 36 already.
They love a young spinner.
They love a young spinner. Now, he's taken 147 wickets in his career already at an average of 31, but he was head and shoulders above anything else that Sri Lanka had bowling in this series. He got 22 wickets, an average of 23, economy rate of 3, keeping nice control. And he was just always there or thereabouts. And there really wasn't anyone else that really made a decent impact into the series with the ball for Sri Lanka.
No, bits and pieces, wasn't it? Pushpak Amara, I love that name. Danajaya, I think when he wasn't bowling no balls. There was some pretty good performances, but nothing that actually elevated, nothing that went from good to great, and that's the difference, isn't it? And when we flip it across to the England side, that's the difference. Some of these blokes went from good to great in this series. Jack Leach, 18 wickets at an average of 21.38. Moeen Ali, 18 wickets, an average of 24.5 in the 3 test matches. And Adil Rashid didn't bowl as much, about 30 overs shy of Ali and probably about 40 overs shy of Leach. But he kept being brought on, and he knows his role now. He knows that they're going to throw him the ball when they need something to happen, when they need to take a wicket, break a partnership. It's like what we used to play with Rob, innit? Mr. Kennywell.
Yeah, just throw him the ball, change the pace of the game, and push the field back and watch the batsman make a mistake.
Yeah, try and watch someone smack it over the top. And England, and that's what Rashid did. 12 wickets at 28. He did okay. You're never going to play him as your frontline spinner because he's going to bowl too many bad balls, but he will take wickets and he will make something happen. But Leach and Ali, brilliant. And Leach, fair play to him. He got his first sniff in New Zealand, missed the summer because of injury, which is still a bit bizarre to me because he still could have got a call up because he was fit. But anyway, that's another story. But he's done really well, and to say that England spinners have outspun Sri Lanka, that's all you need to say for the series, isn't it?
Yeah, 2 points here, Rich. One, who's got the most wickets in all formats of international cricket this year?
In the calendar year?
Yep.
I don't know, Rob.
Adil Rashid.
You're kidding.
Multi-format king. And also, Jack Leach. Does he look anything more like Matt Pryor? Could he look anything more like Matt Pryor if he tried?
No, probably not. And also, was he growing that moustache for Movember, or is that just a fashion choice?
I think it's a fashion choice. I hope it's a fashion choice.
Dear Lord, if you've got that and it's not for charity, there's something going wrong.
Do you not own a mirror?
Exactly. No, that's questionable at best. So that's probably another reason he won't keep his place in West Indies. He'll keep his place in the squad, obviously, but he's going to be running drinks.
Yeah. So overall, Rich, it's an outstanding performance by England. Is where we're going with this, and their next series is they go to the West Indies.
They certainly do. Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see how the squad shakes out. I don't think there's going to be many changes. But one thing I've got to say, actually, just meant to mention it when we mentioned about the number 3s. What happened to Joe Denley on this tour?
Carrying the drinks, mate. Just making sure everyone's hydrated.
Why pick him? That's my next question. If you're not going to play him, why pick him? He's 33.
Yeah, there is that. They may have naturally seen him as an automatic backup in case... Because you never know what they were thinking. They might have gone... If Jennings fails in that first test, we're going to make a change. And
True.
They need what they deem the next cab off the ranks ready to roll. And they go, we want someone with experience. Joe Denley's the man that could potentially come in and just do a couple of test match horses for Corse's job.
Yeah, absolutely. I just find it a little bit bizarre, really. I mean, fair enough. You can't argue the selection of this. Won 3-0 away from home. You can't argue about anything. But it just surprised me a little bit that Denley didn't get an opportunity. Maybe in the third test. It's 2-0, isn't it? Allow Joe Denley to get a little run there. But then they'd obviously made that decision that they'd like to see Bairstow at 3. So that was another reason, I suppose, to give him that. To not give Denley the go and give Bairstow the shot. So anyway, that's just an aside from me. But Yeah, I suppose it's because my prediction was that he's going to be the Jonathan Trott of this generation, or this period of time, which has slightly backfired on.
So we said that it's going to be the West Indies next for England, and it's going to be 3 Test matches and 5 one-day internationals they play before they start to really ramp up the one-day stuff and get ready for the World Cup. West Indies is always a different challenge. You know, for years and years it was, oh my God, we're going to the West Indies, we're going to get rolled. There's Ambrose and Walsh and Bishop and Marshall and all these greats of the game. Whereas now the West Indies team is a little bit more fragile. So it's another good opportunity for these boys to go over there and just implement their game. Try and work out, hey, this top 6 has got to be responsible for scoring 300 runs every time. It's got to be better than being 100 for 5. So huge opportunity for the boys to go out there, Rich. Now, I know you've got an interesting point here, but are we potentially going to see any changes to the squads?
Ooh, exciting. Yeah, we might do. You never know. England have been trying to crowbar some fella into their setup for a little while now, and they've finally got the lawyers on it, and they've finally decided, you know what, we're going to change the way we sort out overseas players, and for them to be eligible to play for England. A certain Jofra Archer, everybody knows that name now. He's now eligible as of the 1st of January to play for England.
Wow.
That means there could very well be a new player in the squad for the West Indies series. Now, whether he gets a call up for the test squad, that's probably stretching it, but it's a damn good chance he gets himself a little, why not have a look at him in the ODIs? The ODI squad has played really well, hasn't it, over the last 12 months, or more than that. So he's up against it, but a player of that talent, that speed, he can swing his bat, you'd be daft not to put him in your squad. So who knows? But that's certainly somebody that could well be, on the radar. He's 23, is Jofra Archer. Yeah, obviously he's been born in Barbados. It'd be amazing for him to go over there. And he's already said how amazing it would be, whether it happens or not, but how amazing it would be if he could make his debut in front of his family. So anyway, we've got 3 tests coming up in the West Indies. It's actually earlier than I thought. 23rd of January through to 30th of February. Followed by 5 one-day internationals from the 20th of February to 2nd of March, and 3 T20 internationals between the 5th and 10th of March. So it's going to be one of them tours, isn't it, where we're going to be starting to, I've used this phrase too much tonight, but turn the page. It's been a lot of Test cricket, but we are starting, as we turn the corner, whatever you want to call it, we are now looking towards the English summer, and the English summer means that it's going to be a lot of one-day cricket. Obviously quite a big competition coming up in the summer. So this is going to be, it's great to see what's happening with that test side, but once that test series is finished, to a certain point, it's going to be stuck on the shelf. Yeah. And then it's going to be all go for the ODI and the T20 stuff.
And England obviously see Archer as an integral part of what they want to do, right, in T20 and one-day cricket, and that's
gotta be.
I think this is why they've accelerated, because the guy does have dual nationality, could play for the West Indies. The World Cup's around the corner. There's likelihood that the West Indies are going, come play for us, we'll play you in the World Cup, you'll be bloody captain, we'll give you a limo to the game. Whatever they can do, because the dude got signed for £800,000 in the IPL. He's a superstar across the world already in white ball cricket. Like, I've never known England do this. I've never really seen it in sport before, where they're literally changing the eligibility rules. And to me, I look at it and I feel like it is just for this one player.
Yeah, I think there is definitely a point of that. I think if there wasn't someone stood there on the sidelines, I think they wouldn't be worrying themselves about looking at the how you work out whether or not players are eligible and how long it takes. But this guy's talent. How many bowlers are around there at the minute that bowls 90 plus? Regularly 93, 94 miles an hour. Every time we try and get one of these players, they break in half. Timo Mills was put together by sellotape, isn't he? With the amount of injuries he's had. So it's so good to have a Jofra Archer come back in. What it means from now, anyway, what they've changed, basically, from 1st of January to play for England, players will need to have British citizenship and either have been born in England, Wales, or have 3 years residence, and not have played as a local player in professional, international, or domestic cricket in a full member country within the past 3 years. So that one's a little bit more just, you need to delve a bit deeper into that one and what that actually means. But obviously, things like IPL, he's an overseas player, isn't he? That's how it's classified for him. So they've tweaked it, but the world should be getting smaller. There's been a lot of nonsense going on in the last couple of years around the world. Not going to go into it, but I've just always of the opinion that the world needs to get smaller. It's global economies, global game, global everything now, isn't it? Players are playing all over the world. People are going to move around a bit more, aren't they? People are going to have moved to countries and whatnot. it doesn't mean that they're any less passionate about playing for the country.
Yeah.
For where they've moved to. But, someone might move to England when he's 18. By the time he's 21, 22, all he probably thinks about is playing for England. That's his country now, or her country now.
Yep.
So I'm not against this, to be honest with you. There's probably a reason why they did it, and it's a little bit naughty, but I'm not against it in principle. And for the player that it's bringing through, bring it on. I've not been this excited about someone qualifying since a certain Kevin Peterson before I realised he was a massive dick. But can you remember how exciting that was when KP was on the verge? It was like, nobody quite realised what was coming, and us who've been watching him at Notts, and me and you kind of wasting a lot of our time, having time on our hands, being able to go and spend time at Trent Bridge, going, oh my God, this guy's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
And then he rocked up in South Africa in the one day as in the end, just was amazing. So, I'm excited about this. And it's a bit like KP again, isn't it? There's a parallel to be drawn there, isn't there, with South Africa when he started?
Yep.
West Indies when this boy starts. So, bring it on.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. Now, Richard, I think the big question is Jofra Archer. Will he be playing in the announced 100-ball cricket competition?
100-ball cricket!
Ooh, yeah, 100 balls. It makes so much sense.
Can we get some real sort of hard dance music going on in the background there? 100-ball cricket. Oh, my Lord. They're just trying to grind us down, mate. Don't let them do it. There's too much crap going on in the world, and they're just throwing one more thing at us. 100-ball cricket, yet new short-form competition confirmed by ECB. Oh, my God. So in 2020, 100-ball cricket will be here. Don't all cheer at once, people. Come on. And hear the groans from around the world. I mean, geez, come on. I mean, what on earth is this nonsense all about? So the format is going to be made up of 10 10-ball overs, Rob.
Wow.
Which can be bowled by one or two bowlers. Okay? They could bowl these in clutches of either 5 or 10 consecutive balls.
I feel that's more complicated than just going, it's 6-ball overs, mate.
Yeah, but it's 100 balls, Rob.
I know.
How can people that don't watch cricket, like women and children that they spoke about, how do they understand what overs are if they're 6 balls, Rob?
I don't know, but now they're 5 or 10, it makes an over seem so much better.
But people can understand it because it's 100 balls.
I know, but they're made up of 10-ball overs.
People can't understand 6-ball overs. Right, you see where I'm going with this. Look, everybody's seen, I don't know if anyone's ever seen it, everyone's seen the meme of it, but I don't know if anyone's seen it where it comes from, but It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. There's a great scene with Charlie in there, and he's got his board trying to explain something. It's one of those boards with photos all over the shop, and he's drawing arrows and lines, linking everything together, and looking manic. This is what I understand Tom Harrison, Chief Executive of the ECB, and others have looked trying to explain this. It doesn't make sense. They're trying to make links where there are no links. It's just ridiculous. Not on any level am I going to stand here and go, do you know what? I can actually see what they're doing here.
Yeah,
it's not going to happen. Never going to happen. It's ridiculous. It's the stupidest thing that cricket has ever done. Don't get it. Stop it. I expected you to have more of a rant than me. Your turn.
I was just looking at the Always Sunny in Philadelphia gif and going, that is it. That is exactly it. I'm going to post it to the Twitter as well.
We'll share it.
They've created a monster, and I don't get it. Like, I've said this before, but you've got a format of cricket in 2020 which is world renowned. And look at Nottinghamshire. They're getting 15,000 people in to go and watch 3 hours of cricket in a bloody weeknight. It is phenomenally successful and financially viable for counties. But the ECB don't have ownership of it. They've lost ownership of T20, and the biggest competitions are in the Big Bash and the IPL. So we need a new 100-ball competition that's going to revamp cricket.
It's a joke, mate. It's a joke, honestly. They see that there are issues. Okay, participation, one thing. Cricket, local clubs struggling. Right, the game's not on terrestrial TV, so one of these things, they want it on terrestrial TV. All right, okay, cool. Great, that's a bonus. But they're fiddling with the wrong problem.
Yes.
It's not the format. 2020 works as a format. If you want to do 10-10, I mean, geez, what was it Johnny Bairstow did yesterday, Rob?
Yeah, 10-10, and he smashed a record 8 consecutive sixes, I think.
Was it 84 of 24 balls or something?
Yeah.
Okay, play 10-10. Play 10 overs, 10 overs aside, whatever you want to play. That works. get it on terrestrial TV if you can on one of these shorter format competitions. Make it more accessible, make it cheaper. Give it a city competition if you want.
Yeah.
But stop fanning about with the actual concept of it. It doesn't make any sense. So the 100 ball format, basically it's a way to attract new audiences to the game, largely by ensuring it gets shown on terrestrial TV and is viewed by a wider, potentially new audience. That doesn't make sense. Play 10-10, play 20-20, and get it on terrestrial TV.
Yeah.
Would that not make sense?
It would make perfect sense, because you're taking something that's popular and that goes, oh my God, there's 15,000 people in the crowd. 3 hours on the BBC on a Thursday night, there's a game on. Oh, this is phenomenal, excellent. I'm not going to watch EastEnders, I'm going to watch the T20 competition. That's awesome, I've heard all about this. Exactly.
And the other thing as well, county cricket has just released its dates, the fixtures for the coming season. So somebody I'm aware of, follow on Twitter, I think it's Worcestershire fan. There's like half a dozen weekend dates, or I think it was 3 dates of cricket where they're playing on a weekend in county championship. The rest is during the week.
Yeah.
There's hardly any weekend cricket for white ball stuff. Yes, there's some evening stuff, but how is that getting people into the grounds to watch cricket? This is the sort of stuff they've done a system now in county championship, which is confusing. Which is they're playing sort of Division 2, Division 1. They're not just playing Division 1, Division 2 anymore. They're kind of taking the first step towards having a different tiered system. These are the sort of nonsense things that confuse the game and turn people off. Just make it easy. Play. What happened to one-day cricket, 40-over cricket being played on a Sunday? It used to be called Sunday League, didn't it?
Yep.
Or whatever. Just make it simple. Make it accessible. Stick some of it on TV. You don't need to mess about with 100 balls and all this absolute garbage.
Yeah. It is Hulk smash. They just don't know what they're doing. They've got no clear strategy on what they're trying to do to fix a red ball cricket, what they're going to do with 40 over, 50 over cricket, however god many overs one day cricket is in club cricket these days, what they're going to do with T20 cricket going forward, and then they're trying to push in more. It's it's the £5 bag and £10 of shit being stuffed into it, and it's just spewing everywhere. And they don't, or they haven't been clear. They might know what they want to do over the next 10, 15 years, but they haven't been clear to the public or to the counties or to anyone else going, this is what the strategy is, this is where we want to get to with cricket in England, and these are the steps we're going to do. Because take the Premier League, right? The Football League was a poor concept. There wasn't money in it. It didn't work. Then it got rebranded. It went to Sky. Premier League, it's this, it's jazzy, it's cool. Did they change it from 90 minutes to 20 minutes a game? Or did they make it, 20 minutes is too hard to understand, we're going to make it 6 attacks each per game? No, they didn't. It's still fundamentally football. It's the marketing, the branding, and the accessibility and the money that came into the game that changed it. Not by going, oh, people don't understand it when they score a goal. Maybe we should just, I don't know, let's give it 100 points if the ball goes in the goal. Maybe we should call it points instead of goals because people don't understand what goals are.
We could put things we could do top bins. We could put the bins like on Soccer AM in the corners and give them 5 goals if they put it in the corner.
Yeah.
No, it's an absolutely right point, mate. The game hasn't changed its fundamental rules. There are different formats around it, obviously. The shorter formats, cricket can do that, but they haven't changed the fundamental game. They've just tweaked it. It's, just words fail me. Just Australians, 100-ball cricket, just all of you. Just
all of you.
Sit down.
All of
Stop
you.
it.
But all that jazz aside, Rich, it is good to be back on the podcast. It's taken 6 weeks, and it's bloody good to be back having a wee natter about some cricket.
It's brilliant to be back. It really is. Obviously, the reason wasn't a good reason. We would have loved to have been doing podcasts, but obviously things do get in the way, and rightly so sometimes. But yeah, it's awesome being back, mate. And let's try and rattle this out. We'll keep them going. The aim was weekly before. We're going to get back to that.
Yep.
I'm not quite sure we're going to commit to the old start, set your watch by it or whatever on a Monday morning, but it's up to you, Rob. You're responsible for that part of
it. Let's play it by ear, but they will be out weekly.
Most definitely. And we'll get caught up with some good cricket. New Zealand, it's all starting to build up New Zealand. They're in Pakistan at the minute.
Yeah, big summer coming up for New Zealand. They're hosting pretty much the whole of the subcontinent.
Literally,
Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and India all in the summer is going to be awesome.
Yeah, after playing Pakistan in UAE at the moment.
Yep, so. Exactly. They bloody love it. They can't get enough of it. If you're from the subcontinent, we want to see you.
Too right. So, yeah, awesome to be back, mate. And once again, just thank you to everybody that reached out. And for the patience as well. You know, this is not what we intended. So, yeah, can't wait to be back on a regular basis.
Yeah, awesome stuff. Thanks very much for your time, guys. Thanks for listening. Thank you to Rich. Till next time.